This week, I head to the south of Lebanon for a spot of fishing. Woo! And visit the coast where beautiful people play and pop-up restaurants cover the beach.
These are awesome.
Plus, an area that was completely levelled by Israeli bombs now produces some of the best goat's cheese in Lebanon.
You can find this combination all over Lebanon.
And back in the kitchen, it's mezze time.
It's got soul, crispness, heaps of flavour.
I love the flavours of the Middle East, and even better, taking that inspiration and creating something new in my own restaurant. But to really understand the food, you need to go to the source. And so, I'm off on a trip to search out age-old recipes and traditions of these ancient cultures. And then the fun part, bringing it to life in my own kitchen. In the Bekaa Valley, I saw the influence the Romans had on Lebanon. But now, I want to go even deeper into history, to a civilization that 5,000 years ago spread its flavours across the Mediterranean. I'm talking about the Phoenicians.
I'm in Sidon, the birthplace of the Phoenician Empire, which spread its wings all through the Mediterranean, even to my homeland of Malta. And it's an empire that owes its wealth to this little shell. They tell me that the purple dye made from this murex shell was so valuable and rare that only royalty, kings and queens could afford it. And that's what gave the Phoenician Empire so much wealth and power.
Sidon is Lebanon's third largest city, and it's seriously old. You know, it was old when Jesus came through here, and it is regarded as the original city of the Phoenicians.
It's pretty funny how in one store there's, full Islamic wear, and the next one right next door, there's sexy lingerie. I suppose it shows Lebanon at its best.
These days, nobody's really sure what Sidon makes, but I'll tell you something, there sure is a lot of it.
There's a lot of sheets and imitation Louis Vuitton, but my nose isn't taking me anywhere. I can't smell anything. Where's the food? Here's some sweets. Hi. I've never seen this. It looks like a bit of a crepe. Is the filling ashta? Jibneh. So it's cheese inside. Yeah. Can I have one? I've got no idea what it's going to taste like. I'm assuming it's sweet, yeah? A lot of the Middle Eastern sweets are actually really sweet. But it's about to get a whole lot sweeter. Sukkur? Atar. So it's atar is like a sugar syrup. Could be flavoured as well. It's really sweet. Those crepes have sucked up all of that sugar syrup, but it's actually really gorgeous. I'm sure those crepes would have came from, when the French were here, because I've seen those crepes in France and in the rest of Europe. Wouldn't expect to find them here in Lebanon.
It's really dangerous coming to a Lebanese souk on an empty stomach. And before I fill up on sweets, there's something I just have to try.
You can always smell kafta when it's cooking.
Meat cooking over coals are a Middle Eastern favourite, and to me it's one of the best smells, but I've never seen it quite so fresh.
I've been telling my guys back home, when they cook over coal, the coal has to be white. And I've been telling them, they don't listen. So now I've seen it on this, I'm going to go back and tell them again. You can smell the fat dripping onto the meat and the flavour going back in. That's what you need. That's the advantage of cooking on coal.
A lot of people know kebabs as a late-night snack, but here in Lebanon, it's considered a fresh and healthy lunch.
Straight from the hook to the grill. No cling films, no preservatives, real fresh. You can taste all the tomato and the herbs, the sumac, the meat. It's a beautiful sandwich.
Sidon was the first major Phoenician port, and fishing has always been important around here. But I've heard that 20 minutes south in Tyre, the second city of Phoenicia, the fishing is even better.
It's 5:30 in the morning. I'm grumpy as hell, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it. It's absolutely beautiful out here.
I'm off the coast of Tyre with a bunch of local fishermen and Delia. Delia is the only woman to run one of 48 pop-up fish restaurants. And this morning, we're out to catch some main courses.
As you know, Shane, the Phoenicians were first sailors in the world. And they brought alphabets also to the world through their sailing, because the sea was the connection between different cultures and different societies back then.
Chefs are not known as early risers, and my sea legs are as green as my face. So I'm happy to let the guys do all the work this morning.
So we're gonna try to catch the ones we saw jumping there.
Oh, look, there we go. Look at him, look. Look,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
look.
Woo! Woo!
I must be good luck.
Yeah.
Normally, I'd still be in bed at this time of the morning, so it's great to have the opportunity to be up and about and hunting for our produce. The food at Dalia's restaurant can best be described as beach meze, a fresh and tasty mix of dishes using simple ingredients.
What's he cooking?
He's doing kamune. It was made like in the villages and like small cities in the south, where people like needed to make something that fills them in with nutrition, but also doesn't cost them much.
Is it like a salad?
You can consider it kind of a salad. For us here, we consider it part of the cold appetizers.
Okay.
And mesa, yeah, exactly. You saw what he put already, like a bit of onion, tomato, burghul, and summa.
I think he squeezed it all together.
Also, it goes very well for vegetarians.
No, it's beautiful.
Okay.
These dishes are simple, but they work so well with the Mediterranean beach environment. And I'm keen to get started on this morning's catch.
So this is what we caught today, huh? Did you notice how its color changed?
Yeah, it was bright blue, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about this color, but like all over. We're gonna do it also the traditional way.
Which is what?
We do not open it to clean it.
So it's still got all the guts in and everything in?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
It's full of nutrition and vitamins.
Okay.
And that's the way the sailors do it.
That's why the sailors
Are
do
you
it.
ready?
I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a go.
Yeah, it's very simple because it's fresh. We got it today. We want to keep the taste of it.
Yeah, you want to taste
so
it.
we won't add many things to it.
Really simple like that. A little bit of oil, a little bit of salt, wrapped up in foil, on the coal.
That's simple.
Guts and everything.
Guts and everything.
Guts and everything.
We'll see if we got some guts to eat it.
No, I'll eat it.
Nothing's wasted in Dalia's kitchen.
There's something about cooking fish whole which is just amazing. You know, I love it when you fry it, when you grill it. It brings heaps more flavour. It's beautiful.
And Dalia does an interesting take on an old favourite.
This is kibbit samak.
So, fish kibbe.
Fish kibbeh.
So is there fish inside and outside? In the burgul there's fish as well?
It's fish inside and outside. We add to it a bit of orange peel. We peel the orange, we put a little bit.
In the outside?
Not everyone knows that.
Okay, well, now they do.
Now they do. Damn. Looks yummy, huh?
I'm eating it with my eyes already.
The beach in Tyre is covered in these pop-up restaurants every summer, and there is no shortage of customers filling up on this simple yet delicious food.
Cheers.
Grab a little food as well. Somebody has to be the first one.
Yep,
It's me.
I'll be the second one.
Normally, I'd never eat fish with the guts in, but these were caught this morning, and according to Dalia, there's heaps of extra goodness.
These are awesome.
From the ocean to the plate, Dalia's easygoing, simple and delicious ways have really inspired me. Southern Lebanon feels really old. The ancient Phoenicians dominated the Mediterranean from this slice of coast. But now, I'm heading inland.
There's more to the south than just beaches and coastline. You know, there's gorgeous sheep's milk cheeses and heaps of fresh berries like sumac and spices like Zaatar. I'm sure if I drive up into the mountain area, I should be able to find some.
I'm heading toward the town of Nabatea, in a region hemmed in by Syria to the east and Israel to the south.
This area is so much drier. I suppose goats and dried zaatar would be some of the only things that would actually grow around here.
Zaatar is a very popular seasoning in the Middle East. Zaatar is one of those words that refers both to the condiment as well as the family of herbs. Bo is a Zaatar farmer, and once it's harvested, it's back to his workshop, where together with wild-grown sumac, chili and some sesame seeds, he makes his own legendary Zaatar mix.
Everyone's got their own special blend of zaatar. Some people like a bit more sumac. I remember my father-in-law growing this. You know, he grows it in his backyard. He'd harvest it just the way we did, dry it out on big sheets underneath his pergola, and then get it on a little sieve and push it through with his hands and collect the sort of the light, fluffy zaatar like this. The only difference is that he'd have to buy the sumac and then mix it through.
Due to its geographic location, the south of Lebanon has long been a trouble spot. In 2006, this whole area was flattened when tensions between Israel and Hezbollah flared up.
So
South Lebanon is a semi-arid region.
That's really dry, isn't it?
It is somewhat dry, and people here have to rely on local seed to produce their wheat, which is the staple food.
Najila is a local goat farmer and cheesemaker. And even though the land around here is really harsh, she and her husband are producing some terrific cheeses.
My husband, Ali, is milking the goats now. Hi, Ali.
Alan,
You look like you're having fun there.
maybe. You want to try?
Is it safe? I don't like the way that she's kicking. So these goats produce all the milk for all the cheeses you do here?
We have daily processing of the milk,
And each goat would produce how much milk?
2 liters a day.
The milk is then processed into various different cheeses using traditional techniques. This morning, Najila is going to treat me to a typical southern breakfast. But first, we need to make the cheese.
We make yogurt, labne, baladi cheese,
The shanklish?
the shanklish as well from yogurt.
Yeah.
And also we make ariche after making the milk.
Ariche is a type of goat's milk ricotta, made by heating the milk, then adding lemon juice to separate the curd from the whey. All the cheese here is unpasteurised, resulting in an even richer, more delicate cheese.
So it's easier to go to the thick area. If you don't do it slowly, the white matter will separate again in the water, and you will lose your ricotta, yani your ariche.
You have to be really delicate. It's so soft and light.
Okay.
With the cheese now made and chilling, it's time for the bread. And right next door is the village baker. This traditional bread is known as saj, named after the dome metal grill it's cooked on.
Usually we can do manouche at home, but it's better that you see how things are run here traditionally. She makes the bread and the manouche as well that you are going to
I thought it was hot outside, it's hot in here.
It
looks really soft and you can see all the holes in the, like the fermentation.
Like everywhere in the south, even the wheat for the bread feels like it was picked this morning. And the temperature in the room is hot enough to ferment the dough naturally.
It looks so easy to do, but I think if I did it, I would tear it.
But it's not that
It's not easy.
It's a miracle, she's saying.
So we've brought all of our stuff from the garden. How do we put it together?
Now she's gonna make manouche with Zaatar and olive oil. And then she puts 2 together, which is thicker than this one.
Okay.
محسامة نعمل منقوشة زعتر.
I use Zaatar in my restaurants. My father-in-law used to grow it at home and mix it for us, and every year he'd give us a different jar, with the year, 2008, 2009. But since he's passed away, I've got the last batch, and now I have to start either growing it myself, buying it from the shop, or you can send it to me.
Yes, I can give it to you. والله بكون ممنوطك.
يلا زينب عليا.
So that will warm the Zaatar through the dough, and it will all sort of become one, rather than just putting it on top, yeah? I'd assume that she'd be making this for a long time. It's a dying art, and we're going to have this type of thing in Australia. It's truly impressive.
يسلموا دايتك.
Looks great, doesn't it?
Okay.
Thank you. Shukran.
All these demonstrations have chewed into my morning, and my tummy is well and truly ready for breakfast.
So this is like a traditional breakfast just of the south?
No, you can find this combination all over Lebanon, where you can have labne, ariche, that we eat with the honey as a dessert.
And that's the ariche that we made back at, at your place?
Yes, yes. Baladi cheese and zaatar.
Yeah.
Fruit, bread, herbs and yogurt.
It's still so warm.
It may seem really simple, but it's the best way to have breakfast.
They're huge, the tomatoes in Lebanon. They're so fleshy.
We love them so much, so everybody grows them, even here, but it needs a lot of water.
It really shows what you guys are doing out here, making the bread on the sage, fresh zaatar from the fields, and your cheeses, which is what the south's all about.
Yep.
That labne is so creamy. I really do want to try this with the honey. And this is like a ricotta cheese, isn't it?
We do it like the Italians do the ricotta.
So, that's so light. And doesn't taste like it's been sitting in a container for 2 or 3 weeks, it's alive.
We just made it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we don't forget the
Zaatar. I really want to get into this because I saw as it was cooking on the Saj, all the Zaatar was cooking and the sesame seeds. All right, I'm gonna have the big piece. You can have the small. Oh, the Zaatar's changed. The flavour of the Zaatar's changed.
No, of course.
You can really taste the sumac in there. It was great. That's a really nice breakfast.
With so much food sampled down here in the south, it was hard to decide on a menu.
I've just been to the south, and what a difference, fresh seafood, fresh produce, and sort of that real relaxed Lebanese culture. You know what Dalia's chef was showing me at Cloud 59, that kamuna, the burger with the tomatoes, I really loved. It summed up what the south food is all about to me. Just simple ingredients, really fresh.
I'm going for a beach mezza menu of 5 dishes today. And this first one is a great vegetarian dish. I'm mixing tomato, onion and burgle, then adding the seasonings like smoked paprika, cayenne pepper, sumac and a touch of dried mint.
And just a little bit of this really beautiful sun-dried capsicum paste and some pomegranate molasses. I love using mint. And every time I smell it, it reminds me of being back at my grandmother's house. I'm 13 again, running around in her backyard. All in the bowl. A few toasted pine nuts. That smells so fresh. That spicing is spot on. I'm just gonna give it a bit of labneh.
As it is, it's not the best looking dish, so it's important to spend a bit of time and get the garnish right.
And that is my take on Dalia's kamune.
I love the freshness and simplicity of the food in the south, and Najila's cheeses were so good. So I thought a fresh halloumi salad would be just the ticket for my beach mezza menu. But it's the toppings that are really going to make this dish pop.
With these, generally what I've always done is I've cut straight through the pomegranate and then tapped out all the seeds, which works fine. But what happens is you've broken all those sort of jewels inside. You end up with pomegranate all over your guts, all over the board, and it's a mess. Little trick that I picked up while I was on the road. Slice the top of the pomegranate open, just to expose the jewels. Slice down the side of it, both sides. And you release all those jewels, all those seeds, without putting out any of the membrane.
To make it into a dressing, I'm adding sunflower seeds, pine nuts, sumac, and of course a drop of my favourite, pomegranate molasses. And that fresh zaatar I saw will be awesome in this salad.
And just pour that over the cheese. That's got soul, crispness, heaps of flavour. That's a really beautiful summer beachside mezze. The way Delia cooked the fish back at Cloud 59, I can't get any better than that. Fried fish, whole, on the bone. The only thing that I wouldn't do is I wouldn't cook it with the guts in. It's all good for her. If the fish is that fresh and she can cook it with the guts and she likes it, more power to her.
My fish are gutted and I'm just scoring them a little on both sides. Today I've got some snapper, King George whiting, octopus and some calamari.
Can't have fried fish without salt, but we don't have to just keep it that simple. We can make a flavoured salt. Got some really gorgeous Lebanese sea salt, really coarse and minerally. The flavour I'm going to put in there is some dehydrated oranges and some spices. But first I need to get these on.
All I'm doing is peeling the orange and putting the rind in the dehydrator.
And put the lid on and you're done. All right, easy as hell this bit. Spice grinder, our orange zest, straight in there. Might crumble them a bit, just to make it easier. Just gonna add a pinch of salt, just to act as an abrasive and help break those up. Got some star anise, a little bit of cloves, and some saffron. Saffron and orange go really well together, and they produce a gorgeous flavour when you add them to fish. And that's done. That is gonna really set our fish off.
To fry the fish, I'm just going to rub in some seasoning. And my secret ingredient? Chickpea flour.
I want to get some inside as well. This chickpea flour creates like a really nice batter just with the moisture of the fish.
It's a good idea to cook your seafood one at a time so it doesn't stick together and so the oil doesn't cool too much. Then all that's left to do, plate it up. This is really strong, you know, our orange salt, so just a light season over the top, some limes. But what's fried fish without some chips? Back over to the wok one last time. All right. Simplest thing in the world to do, fry chips. But to get them really tasty is something that Delia has mastered. She told me that she just uses packet freezer chips. And I'm going to do the same. What she did was she got them all on her board and she quickly ran her knife through them. And I asked her why. She said to me it's because it creates a bit of a loose edge and it gets them frying up even crispier. That sounds good to me. You know, there's nothing wrong with buying store-bought chips, and a lot of the times, they've actually been cooked, chilled 2 or 3 times. So, you know, that's probably the optimum way to cook potatoes. To really give the chips the Delia taste, she fried up some garlic and almonds. Straight in the pan. Then goes in coriander powder, sumac, Aleppo pepper, salt, and fresh coriander. Just to give it that zing, a bit of lemon. All right. And into our bowl. And that is one of the best fish and chips you'll ever eat. Now, walking through that old souk in Sidon, something I saw was that crepe filled with that jibneh, the sweet cheese. That was so beautiful, but it was too intense for me. I'm changing up this dessert just a little bit. Instead of using it like a French-style heavy crepe, I'm using a Tunisian crepe. And I don't know if you can see through there, but that's like, you can see straight through it. It's really, really got to be really brittle when it's cooked and really crunchy. And I love this stuff. I'm going to use a little bit of fresh ricotta. Keep it really simple. Carob molasses. Now, this stuff is liquid gold. You know, my mates call it hippie chocolate because it's just good for you and it's got that chocolatey flavour. So we're just going to get all that and just break it up. No need to add any sugar because that carob molasses is really caramelly. It's got heaps of flavour. But to add some texture, I'm adding some almonds to my filling before rolling it all up in my pastry. Egg yolk around the rim. And this is going to seal it in and stop them from unravelling. All right, you have to move quick. You don't want this pastry to dry out. And these are great because you can store them in the freezer once you've made them and you can cook them up later. But one's never enough, so make sure you cook a few. Beautiful. Halva's one of my favourite Middle Eastern sweets. It's pretty much a tahini confectionery. So to go with my crepes, I'm thinking a halva ice cream would be sensational. It's then straight into the oil to cook until they're crispy. All right, we'll just line those up. Now, it's not really sweet yet. To sweeten it up, a little dusting of icing sugar and cinnamon before the final sweet touch. Finish it off with a bit of Iranian fairy floss called pashmak. Beautiful, this stuff. Always save one for the chef. Ah, look at that. Really gooey. That's not complete without the ice cream. It's on the money. Real crispy, gorgeous caramel flavour. And with that ice cream, sexy time. In the south, everything seems so fresh and so simple. It's been a very relaxed part of my journey. But next time, I'm changing gears when I hit the city of Beirut.
You make your own rules as you go. It's Lebanese style.
Where I sample the best of multicultural Lebanon.
You could say that Beirut is really the most glamorous city.
And discover the high-end cuisine of this cosmopolitan capital. Definitely some ideas that I'm going to steal.